Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in here. I just wanted to make this video in case you didn't know. Last night I actually had a sleep apnea test done, or a sleep study done rather, to determine whether or not I had some kind of sleep disability. I had been under the impression for about the last 6 months or so, since October, that I have been suffering from some kind of sleep disorder, and more recently in doing some of the research and looking at the symptoms and things like that, it looked like I actually had a case of sleep apnea. And so went to a pulmonologist back in January, who determined a few things, but didn't necessarily point to sleep apnea. It was because of my own asking of that doctor to have a sleep test done, that I even went in for a sleep study. My wife, who many of you know, she had been complaining of me waking her up, making strange noises, and the grunting, and not breathing right, and gasping for air, and that kind of thing. About 2 weeks ago, what kind of made it come to a head was we were up on a Saturday morning, just like this morning, and I was in the middle of talking to her, and I actually just literally fell asleep. And because it was bright outside, and because she had her phone with her right then, she was actually able to record me and what I was doing. And what I saw really frightened me. It looked like basically I fell asleep and didn't breathe for about 20 to 25 minutes. Seconds. And so it was very scary. And immediately I emailed the pulmonologist that I saw back in January, asked him if we could do a sleep study, and we got it all set up. So we scheduled it for last night, and I wanted to give you guys an update on how it went, since many of you have been asking. And I really, once again, I wanted to actually just take a moment to say thank you so much for everybody who has been calling and texting and writing on Facebook. I really appreciate the support, you guys. It really means a lot to me, and I figured making this video was the easiest way to describe to everybody all at one time exactly what went on, and that way I didn't have to repeat the story a bunch of times, and you guys can get a consistent idea of what happened. So last night the study was scheduled to begin at around 8 p.m. So it was Friday night last night, not too far away from my house, which was very convenient. So I went up there with my wife, who drove separately. The anticipation was that it was going to be from 8 p.m. until, I had been told on the phone, 6:30 a.m., but when we got there, the sleep technician actually told me that it was going to be until about 5 a.m. So anyways, that was the expectation. Got there, answered a few questions, filled out a few pieces of paper. It is a hotel room type of situation. They made it feel like it was, at least. So it was actually pretty comfortable. It was nice and clean. The bed was actually pretty comfortable as well. So it was definitely, didn't make me feel anxious when I got into the room. And it had a nice bathroom and everything in there as well. And so traveling the last little few months like I had been, it's almost just like staying in a hotel, in case any of you guys aren't familiar with the way that it's set up. So my wife ended up staying for about an hour or so after we got there, helped me fill out some paperwork and get settled in. The nurse tech came back in again. The sleep technician hooked me up with all the wires and cords, and I think I have a picture of that, and I'll post it here in a second as I'm talking. So that was interesting. I felt like Frankenstein, and I was hoping that I would be able to figure out a position that would be comfortable enough. Anyway, make a long story short, after I got into bed, I had asked her what will constitute me using a machine, because in my research I had determined and found out that the most common form of treatment for sleep apnea is something called a CPAP machine, and that stands for continuous positive air pressure. And it's basically a little mask that they put on your face. It can cover just your nose, or your nose and your mouth, I think it depends on sometimes your gender, sometimes it depends on the size of your face, sometimes it depends on the severity of your sleep apnea, I believe. And so the one that they had there, I'll talk about it in a second. So anyway, they told me that the sleep study will start for the first half of the night from about 9:30 until about around 1 a.m. And if the insurance company, the way the stipulations worked is if you fall asleep for at least 2 hours, so it doesn't have to be continuous sleep, but you have to fall asleep within, I guess, at least by 11 p.m. And then if you wake up at least 20 times per hour, that determines whether you're able to get what's called a half and half night. And the half and half night allows them to put the CPAP machine on you for the second half after the 1 a.m. time frame, and you're able to sleep the other half of the night with the machine on. And the good thing about that is that you don't actually have to come back for a second visit if that's the case. But if they determine that that's not the case, you actually have to have one full night of a sleep the way you normally sleep, and then you have to come back again at another time and sleep another full night with the machine. So I went to sleep around 9:30. Cassie, my wife, she left, and they came in, and I might have woken up like one time, and I think one of the cords had come loose on my leg, and so I didn't have a clock in there, so I wasn't sure. I don't remember waking up more than once between the first little bit of time, and then sure enough, at some point in the night, I didn't know when, I assumed it was around 1 o'clock, she woke me up and said, "Hey, we're going to put the machine on you." And so I thought to myself, oh, I guess I reached the 20 times per hour in my head. Little did I know. So she put the machine on me. She told me this morning it was sometime around 12:30. I guess I had been doing so, I guess well, or maybe not so well, however you want to put it, that she went ahead and did it early. And so I had the machine on me from about 12:30 until I woke up. Now, I told you guys earlier the way that they have the mask. They have several different types. The way that they had this one was like a Darth Vader style. They had it's kind of a triangle that went around my nose and my mouth. It's actually really easy for me to get used to. I had already psyched myself up to say, hey, this is going to help you breathe. However weird it feels, you're just going to deal with it. And it actually wasn't hard to deal with at all. I'm used to sleeping with noise as well, so the noise didn't bother me whatsoever. And so she put the machine on me, and it started to push down air down my throat, and I could feel it, and it was actually pretty relieving at first. But what I really noticed is I did wake up a little bit sometime in the middle of the night, and something came loose or something, and they had to readjust the mask. And when I know what it was. It's actually near the time I went to get up, and I thought it was time for me to wake up, and I felt really good actually. And I asked her, I said, "What time is it?" And she said, "It's 10 till 7." And I thought to myself, that's kind of odd, because they told me it was going to be done at 5, right? And so they went ahead and they readjusted she readjusted the mask on me, because I had to get up and cough. And so I kept trying to pull around, and she finally came in there and helped me take it off for a second so I could cough and wipe my mouth off and stuff. And it was amazing when they turned the machine off, because it had been eventually, as I slept, it got harder and harder to push down my throat, which was good because it calibrates to how much oxygen that it feels like your body needs. It was unbelievable. When she turned the machine off, not only could I tell, it almost felt like it was sucking the air back out of me, and I thought to myself, wow, is this what I've been sleeping with? Is this lack of oxygen, especially as compared to what I should be getting, it feels like it's not only not enough, it feels like it's sucking it out of my chest. So I had to kind of a revelation at that point that I must have been doing really poorly the last 6 months. And so she told me it wasn't time to get up, if I could go back to sleep one more time. They were in the middle of doing I guess a high pressure test is what she said. I believe I remember her telling me, and this was only, I'd say, about 5 to 10 minutes that I was stirred awake. And so I coughed, whatever. She put the mask back on me. Took a second. She actually had to get a different mask because the other one kept leaking. And so we figured it out. I went right back to sleep, fortunately. I wasn't sure. I felt good at that point, actually, like I could get up. But I told myself I really don't want to have to come back again, especially not to get a machine. If it's going to help bring me relief, I want to get that thing immediately. And so a couple hours later, apparently she woke me up around 9:30 in the morning. And at the end of the test, the few important things that she told me was that I had slept with the machine from 12:30 to 9:30. And I was like, wow, that's really good. That's even, even if I had gone to sleep before, or just with the machine, that would have been a great night's sleep for me, because I usually get about 7 hours. But, I had honestly been asleep since 9:30, even without the machine, asleep, I found out. And so I asked her, I said, how many times per hour did I wake up? Because that's, in doing my research, like I said, that's kind of been what I've realized is the determining factor of how bad sleep apnea is your rate of which you wake up per hour. And she said, well, I can figure that out for you in just a moment. And she said, go ahead and gather your stuff up and fill out these last survey questions. So I did that. I used the bathroom real quick, filled out the survey questions, got my stuff together. About 10 minutes later, she came back, and I said, did you figure it out? She said, yeah, I did. And she told me what it was. And I asked her, I said, that seems really high. And she's like, it is. I said, have you ever seen anything that high? And she said, in my 15 years of being involved in the sleep study field, and being whatever she was before until she was a sleep technician, she's never seen anyone have a rate of awakeness per hour as I have had. The rate of which I woke up was 192 times per hour. That was very, very scary. You guys have been around me, if you work with me, if you're friends or family, you know that I've been kind of sleepy lately. Over the last 6 months, falling asleep at random times. Now you know why. 192 times per hour. I don't even know how I've been functioning. She doesn't even know how I've been functioning. Another record I broke that she told me was that I did so well with the CPAP machine that I had the longest amount of REM sleep that she's ever seen. And she's like, you were one tired guy. I said, I know. I had about 5 dreams last night, guys, and it was phenomenal. I don't hardly remember having more than one dream, rarely. And I'm a big dreamer. Before all this happened in October, from when I can kind of pinpoint, that's when I remember it really starting. I would have dreams, vivid dreams all the time, and very few have I had since that time, and no wonder. I can't get into REM sleep, and that REM sleep is what really refreshes your body. It's what rejuvenates you. And so, another flip side of this is I've had a few respiratory issues going on as far as sicknesses and things since October as well. I think that these two things are somehow related. As a sleep technician, she can only offer so much information medically. The sleep doctor, the pulmonologist that I have, he'll be following up with me hopefully on Monday. And he's a great guy. And so I hope to have a CPAP machine ASAP. And he will be able to tell me a little bit more information. I might do another follow-up video as well. But it is so relieving to know what's finally been going on and to finally have some relief. I feel like I could go skydiving this morning, guys. I feel the best I have felt in 6 months this morning. Absolutely phenomenal. I didn't even drink any coffee this morning, which I've been struggling. If I didn't even have some kind of cups of coffee or Starbucks or something, that I would just be dead. And I've been noticing about 2 hours after I wake up, and then around the 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon mark are the two worst times a day for me to kind of start to doze off and lose concentration. Concentration has been a big thing as well. And it's now been 3 hours since I woke up, and I still feel as alert as I did, and I just feel like I can take on the world. And I'm just so thankful to finally have an answer to everything. And hopefully getting some normal sleep will not only help me with my tiredness and my sleepiness, but also my well-being and health. I'm sure it will. I hope it starts to do a reverse snowball, just like it started to do a snowball back in October. So thanks for watching, and like I said, I may do a follow-up video, and I hope everybody has a great day.